Support for the Leadoff on WGLT and WGLT.org comes from the Central Illinois Regional Airport, connecting Central Illinois to the world with daily flights on American Airlines to hubs in Dallas and Chicago. Close, convenient, CIRA. More at CIRA.com.
A new roundabout coming to College Avenue near Rivian is raising concerns among farmers in the area. It's one of the things you need to know to start your day for Wednesday, October 22nd. I'm Ryan Denham, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Now let's lead off with a traffic design change coming to normal. It's meant to make roads safer, but farmers see it very differently. More from WGLT student reporter Courtney Conroy.
The intersection of College Avenue and Rivian Motorway in West Normal is getting a makeover. Rivian is extending facilities to the west of Route 150. That will make College Avenue a four-way intersection. Instead of traffic signals, there will be a roundabout. Farmers have concerns. They prefer to drive their farm vehicles along Rivian Motorway over some township roads. McLean County Farm Bureau Anna Ziegler says it offers advantages over some township roads nearby.
It has hard shoulders, and it has a second lane both directions. So if a piece of farm equipment's on that road, it's easier for a passenger vehicle to get around them than on a township road.
Ziegler says a roundabout may prevent farm equipment from using that section of Rivian Motorway during the crucial planting and harvesting seasons. She says farmers may have to divert to Old Peoria Road. And the closest road rated to take 80,000-pound traffic is 6 miles west and goes through Danvers.
It all depends on where their field location's at and where they're trying to go. If it's an 80-acre field in corn, that's probably around 25 semi-loads that they need to take off that field. You know, every trip, if they have to go a mile out of the way, that's 25 extra miles.
The Illinois Department of Transportation says the roundabout is designed for interstate semi-trucks, but the design accounts for keeping smaller vehicles going slower to ensure safety. Work is already underway, and the intersection is currently closed. With reporting from WGLT's Charlie Schlenker, I'm Courtney Conroy.
Here's some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. The city of Bloomington is considering potential adjustments to its bulk waste collection program. A proposal discussed at this week's non-voting council meeting recommends a return to bi-weekly curbside pickups and limiting the Citizens Convenience Center to yard waste and electronics recycling. Small businesses in McLean County have a new health care option now that Health Alliance is ending coverage at the end of the year. The McLean County Chamber of Commerce has set up a new agreement with United Healthcare that it's looking to take statewide. 3 Peoria teenagers face charges after allegedly crashing their vehicle and seriously injuring a man while fleeing from a retail theft investigation. That happened Monday night near Empire and Clinton Streets. The man has life-threatening injuries. And opening statements take place this morning in the murder trial of a former sheriff's deputy charged with shooting Sonia Massey last year in Springfield. It's a case that's gained national attention where a white officer allegedly used excessive force to kill an unarmed black woman. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. 1 week after a ceasefire paused 2 years of fighting between Israel and Hamas, there are signs of fracture. And a Muslim-American scholar on education and Middle Eastern identity worries the long-term commitment needed to help Palestinians rebuild may never come. Hannah Maswani of Bloomington serves in the Racial Equity Collective for the Illinois nonprofit Forefront. In this interview with WGLT's Eric Stock, Maswani says she's cautiously optimistic about long-term peace, but worries about those whose homeland will never be the same.
Seeing hostages from both sides be released is very, very heartening. Of course, knowing that Israeli hostages died in Palestine and then Palestinian hostages were similarly starved in Israel is hard because you think about the life lost. But this does feel like a significant first step because there has been more inclusion of Palestinian voices to a degree than there have been in past efforts, such as 93, when there were more talks underway.
It seems Israel perhaps grew tired of this war, and Hamas was getting pounded and figured perhaps they could not survive. Does that give hope that this could be long-term, or will old animosities gin up again as they always have?
I think my mind immediately goes to the fear of sort of new tensions arising, because we can't forget that 90% of Palestinians are displaced and that Palestine and Gaza have been absolutely leveled. So what I'd love to be seeing is more more of the reparations we saw after World War II happen, where it was about $25 billion worth of reinvestment in Jewish folks. Because I think my hesitation that stops me from feeling too hopeful is these are two countries that have, to varying degrees, hurt each other. There has been a lot of in poor taste humor from some Israeli pundits about Palestinians starving. And so I think there needs to be a lot more robust support to get to a place of repaired relationships.
As you referred to those two lands, of course, only one is recognized. Mm-hmm. And as Palestinians return to their homeland and they are living in rubble after much of it was destroyed, and their desire for an independent state no closer now than it was before, does that keep the variables for conflict still in place and that tension that existed pre-October 7th?
It's interesting because it's on paper the same, but 151 of the 193 member states of the UN do recognize Palestine. And then even before 2023, we've seen rhetoric similar to Netanyahu's, where I think it was Ben Gvir, I want to say, who said for every country that recognizes Palestine, we're starting a new settlement. And so it's the powers that be representing an entire people who do just want to live in harmony, as was the case before. So I think this is the part you're hitting the nail on the head in terms of a lot of it depends on the global continued conversation, and that continued conversation relies on acknowledging the hostages on both sides, not necessarily prisoners on both sides, acknowledging the harm of the past 7 decades and the harm of October 7th as well. And so my hope is that there's more nuance in the conversation. Being a Muslim who came to the U.S. in 2006, seeing, the number of stereotypes against Muslims that you can imagine. I think 88% of media representation of Muslims is negative. I want the nuance that we wouldn't tolerate if, let's say, you're a Cubs fan and I say, oh yeah, the White Sox, I love them. There's that immediate knee-jerk, wait, that's not the same thing. And so having space for more conversation like this one.
That was Hannah Maswani from the Forefront Racial Equity Collective speaking with WGLT's Eric Stock. You can read or listen to much more of their conversation at WGLT.org. Before we let you go, Bloomington's Public Safety and Community Relations Board meets today at 3:30 at the Government Center. On the agenda is discussion about a complaint that was filed requesting the board's review of a police matter. And that is it for today. I'm Ryan Denham. The show is produced by Cheyenne Brown. You can subscribe to the Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.